Okay, here we go. We've got the nutmeg. We got the drink. It's Thursday. It's not Friday. It's all right though. Don't mess up your week. We just have to kind of start a day ahead. Welcome to the Nutmeg Tavern. The tavern doors are open. Fire is warm. We've got the candles lit up. We have someone behind the bar. Welcome.
It's me. Hello.
Ryan.
Hi.
There
I'm
you
rolling
are.
my sleeves up because I almost lit them on fire.
And thankfully, because, the technical end of this isn't the easiest thing in the world. Some people mess up and start a stream the day early when they don't know what's going on.
But who would do something like
person
that?
is
No
not
crazy.
me.
Nobody would do that. Anyway, Aaron is behind the console.
Hey everyone.
There
Hope
he is.
everything looks and sounds good. Thanks for being here.
Yes, there he is. Okay. Thank you, Aaron, on the other side of the time vortex, taking care of all the technicalities.
Yeah.
I am going to fire in right away. The mandatory carry
Yeah.
was in Super Chat
Yeah.
before we started.
Okay.
You guys are awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mandatory carry. Before we get started, I want to ask you guys, no cheating, Aaron, Ryan.
Okay.
How many live streams have we done? What number live stream is this?
This one today,
Yeah.
150?
Ryan?
I'm trying to remember when we built the... I'm going to say 190.
YouTube says that we've done 350.
No way.
Yeah. That's what it says.
That's crazy.
Yowzers.
Thanks for being here for all those live streams.
I declare. I do declare.
So here we are. Let's call it 351. Welcome to Live at the Nutmeg Tavern. We've got some fun pictures today. Lots of pictures today. We can jump in right away if we want. Is there any other thing we need to discuss before we get started?
We
Ryan?
might as well discuss Denise Maloney Piran
Yeah.
in her super chat that said the bricklaying video was meditative. Loved it.
Thank you.
And yes, thank you so much to anybody and everybody who watched the bricklaying video. It
Right.
was,
Especially if you shared it.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was a fun, interesting, different video for us, and we had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, we don't want Aaron to get bored, right? So it's like all of us, right? We all want to try something new. You don't want to make the same video year after year after year.
Right.
And so we like to break out, and it's really amazing when we get a positive response out of something that's completely different. Aaron, tell us about shooting that.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So, we made the bricks over the summer. We fired them in October, I believe. And then we wanted to do something special with them. We didn't have enough to build a whole building, but it was like we could do the hearth, and I want to do something special with it. So we kind of started talking a little bit about how's it going to, like, what do we say? What do we talk about? And somebody threw out, like, let's just don't say anything and just lay the bricks down. And we all got really excited about, just a visual storytelling. And, yeah. And no, somebody said, who held my feet down when I lowered down the chimney? So that
was me up there.
Yeah, Ryan was up top. That was a GoPro, a rubber band, and what was the pole we used?
Yeah, an
It was like-
extendable aluminum pole.
yeah, and
Yeah.
we just strapped it to that and just lowered it down the chimney. But yeah, we're all very proud of that video. Loved how it turned out, and thanks to everyone who watched it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it has a first. It's got some Caleb music in it besides having Ryan music. So,
Yeah.
we had there's a lot of firsts in there.
Yeah.
And the intro was, told, it's just like, it was good.
Well, I talked with Caleb, the new videographer, like almost a year ago about writing some stuff for our channel. He's a great guitar player, so we kind of reached out. Nothing really worked out, and now that he's here, it was like, hey, you got anything? And he had some stuff.
There you go.
Yeah, and we're stoked to have Caleb on board. He is somebody that Aaron's known for a while. I've known for quite a long time, and we've kind of had a friendship, and it just happened to work out. So we're stoked that he's here.
Yeah.
And appreciate all the positive comments and stuff. That stuff is awesome.
Yep.
Really helpful.
It's always great when.
Somebody just commented that Crowbar is a fantastic band.
None heavier.
If we could get Crowbar to provide some music, that would be. I would buy a happy man.
Well, we could cover a Crowbar song in the style of the 18th century.
We could do that.
Down-tune the mandolins.
Yeah. Let's see if these puppies can do A.
The strings are just anyway.
Holding on for dear life.
Let's talk about wild rides. So we've got a video upcoming, not this Monday, next Monday. We got a video talking about transportation, public transportation, what's going on in North America in the 18th century. And so I thought I would do a sort of a picture study of transportation in the 18th century. Most of these images are Great Britain, because images are really hard to come up with for North America in our time period, but they give us a lot of those same ideas. So this is sort of a warm-up to the video that's coming up soon. Yes?
Are you going to talk today about what you were talking about earlier with the wagon that had to be resized?
Yeah, I can mention that.
That will answer a question that just popped up, so
Okay.
you should read that.
Okay, so I don't have the text here, but the story is like this. There were the Moravians in North America in the 18th century were extremely good at telling their story. And there are many journals and reads about what was going on, what they were doing over long periods of time. There's a great sort of journal reading from about 1753, I believe, and there's a whole group of Moravians that are going from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, down to Bethabara or Salem, North Carolina. That's the current Winston-Salem area, down sort of the Piedmont, back out of not the coastal part of North Carolina. And they are traveling, a bunch of them, down to this spot from Pennsylvania down to North Carolina. And almost like the first day, after 6 hours of traveling in their wagon, they stop. They go immediately to a blacksmith shop and say to the blacksmith, we need our wagon to be 3 inches narrower. It's like, can you imagine going to the local garage? My car's just a little too wide. Can you just sort of cut it in half, take 3 inches out, and just slam it back together? That's exactly what they did, because the wheels did not fit the ruts in the road. And so, no matter what they did, it was fighting them the entire time. And so it was easier for them to have their wagon adjusted than to keep going. That's travel in North America in the 18th century.
This kills me.
Let's start shooting through these images. This is Ibison in 1795, a coach here. And this is our standard kind of stagecoach feel. Great Britain at the time in the late 18th century was really starting to get some decent roads. We didn't have decent roads in North America, so the idea of sort of horses running a lot, not a lot of that going on. Some, and I talk about that in the video that's coming up, but this is a typical kind of coach situation. Look, we've got here. So I'm not even going to talk about what's going on here on the side there. Let's just concentrate on the coach. People riding on top, people riding on the inside. 4 horses, off they go. Let's go, Aaron. This is much later. This is 1835, and this particular artist is Pollard, and he almost seems like he specializes in coach pictures. So if you look for images in the early 19th century and search for Pollard, you will find lots of wonderful coach pictures, and this is just the classic.
Why are those horses so tiny?
Well, they didn't have giant horses like we have today. I don't know. Maybe they don't seem there does seem to be a little sort of out of kilter. No, look at it compared to the...
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say.
Right.
It's taller than the dude's top hat.
Right. So, I mean, the guy that's out here on the ground, the horses look normal size, and then all of a sudden the coach is a little...
Maybe it's just a huge
Big
coach.
yeah.
Yeah.
There
maybe
are
it's
like
just
30
Well,
people
look how many
on
people
it.
are on it. Yeah.
I mean, and dude, look at that. This thing is huge. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12,
it's
13,
packed.
14, 15.
And people inside.
I mean, there's a ton of people.
And it's only got 4 horses pulling it?
Yeah, they're
I
all
need
going.
4. We need like 120 horsepower to pull
Yeah.
our family.
Exactly.
Yep.
This is Pollard again, and this is an actual earlier picture. This is 1822. A little bit closer to our time period. Very, very similar coach. Again, massively overloaded. Notice the hat. The gentleman with the light blue hat, or light blue coat, and he's got that sort of red hat. You recognize that hat?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that Brian down at Lucas Grove is like that.
Cushing.
Yeah,
Brian
Brent
Cushing.
Cushing. Yeah, speckled horses, white horse, they're cruising. This is a nice road. Look at how smooth that road is, so that they can really kind of get going on that coach. What does it say? It says the Comet, going from Brighton to London, and they have these sort of regular coach rides, sort of scheduled coaches, like a bus that's going to go from one place to the other.
The fella riding shotgun that's flexing with that taupe top hat.
Oh yeah,
It's like twice as tall as the guy next to him.
yeah. And that white top hat. Really interesting. Really strange. Now this is probably the only image in this whole batch that's North American. Classic sort of, look, North America, there's a field that has trees cut down. It's got the classic fencing that they talk about. Hey, Aaron, you're...
Oh, gosh. I'm trying to type something out.
Aaron, stop. There we are.
Yeah, we're back.
And we're back.
There's the tavern or the inn down at Conner Prairie. What's that? The Eagle or something? Inn,
Yeah,
right?
Golden Eagle, I think.
Right. Notice there's like the Eagle sign there at this tavern. It's a stop along the route.
And I like how high up it's lifted. It's like it's for travelers to see in the distance.
Yes, and like a billboard way up
Uh-huh.
there. This road looks good. This is a kind of a less fancy coach than you would see in Great Britain in the time period, but they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people in there, and at least one of them has a sort of I can't remember. Let's see. What does it say? Yeah, we don't know the time period on this image down to the year. It is early 19th century, so but a classic sort of tavern stop. For North America here, the building's a little bit different than you're going to see in Great Britain. Great image.
Is there anything that indicates where it's at by the fence style here?
I think that's a much more classically an American style fence because of the amount of wood that's available compared to someplace in Great Britain at the time period. I love this one. It's like going up and down. So one of the scariest things in a coach is not the going up, but it's this coach that's going down. And that's scary stuff because you got to have the brakes slammed on. And because it's going to want to run ahead. So you either go really, really fast down the hill and hope you don't die or
run over your horse.
Right. And some of the things we talk about in that next Monday's video, not next Monday's, but a future video, the scariness of going downhill and the things that can happen, and it's bad stuff. So I don't know exactly. You can see the horses, they're kind of fighting that. They look like they're skidding. They've probably got the brakes pulled, and they should be worried. Let's just say that. We've looked at this image before. Yeah. This is the no old baby image, right?
Right.
Okay. But we're looking at the coach here, and this huge wheels. This is 1747. This is an early coach. It's not sprung. This is going to be a rough ride. We've got guys up on top again. We've got the woman riding in the back in the basket. We have people getting put into the wagon. We got those guys on the top. They are ne'er-do-wells. I can tell. you got to look out. And besides the old baby riot going on in the background.
Yeah. This. I like how that image continually comes up in the pictures.
It's like, well, it's just a crazy image. Now we're going to see a bunch of this artist. This is Rowlandson, and he was prolific in this time period. He has these very, very specific image style, very rounded, and some of them are simplistic images, sketches, and then this is one of the ones that's done very finely. It's got you can tell this is a coaching inn. Notice that it's got a big front porch. It's got places to eat so people don't have to go inside, but they can feed them on the outside. Rowlandson has this hogs and dogs thing going on. This right here, center bottom of the image. You're going to see these hogs in future images. Apparently they, just like run around on the street all the time. It's not a strange thing to happen. And we've got this, again, beautiful big coach, probably unsprung, probably a very, very rough ride. Things on top, people,
They just piled them, didn't they?
Yeah, they just stack people on top, stack the luggage, this basket in the back. Really, really typical of the time period. In fact, it makes me think of the roadsters in the early 20th century with the little, the little kind of trunk that opens up and people can ride in the back. They're doing the same thing here.
This guy's got a great coat on.
Yes.
I really like that coat.
Yeah, and this is Rowlandson 1795. This great coat really comes in a little bit later, and you see it sort of refined with the multiple capes. You don't see it as much earlier, so this is probably the very kind of an early version of that great coat with the multiple capes going on. This is Rowlandson again. I love this image with the, we missed. Now, it doesn't look like there was any room for them anyway, but the one person on the top of this coach over here, they've got an umbrella. Now, obviously, they're not going very fast because, you can't have an umbrella if you're going fast. It would just, rip it open. And so they're just trotting along, but trotting fast enough that this runner can't catch up with it. And this is one of the cruder, simpler, probably just a sketch for Rowlandson. This is later, 1809. But somebody missed the coach. Some of these images are not necessarily coaches, but what's transport going on here? What's it like? This is Lutherborg. It's European, probably. I think he's a European, but he's painting in England. Beautiful technique, a lot more impressionistic. Interestingly, we've got a farm wagon here that's being pulled by oxen and a draft horse. That's interesting. To me, is how they get them hooked up in a three-way, one in the front and two behind, then pulling. That's a strange way, a hard way to figure out how to hook up animals. Usually you're either 2 or 4 or 1. 3 is like, what?
Yeah.
So it's a real strange connection there. But interesting, this is 1780. This is an early piece. This is Laguerre, 1725. This is from the Hobbes series. And Hobbes it's like this story about this dancing person. It's either a play or something from the time period. Hobbes, he's even dancing in this image here, and he's delivering beer. But I actually grabbed the picture because of what's going on in the background. The people traveling probably like a party, and they are in a farm wagon, high sides. They've jammed a bunch of people in there. It's probably a ad hoc public transport. So somebody's, they needed transported, and it's like, hey, who's got a wagon? Let's go. A rough ride in a wagon like that.
Hey, can I ask a couple of questions real quick? And then
Yeah,
we'll get back
if you
into
want,
it?
we can take a break here.
Yeah. There's some good ones in here. This is all from the chat, and then we'll get in the super chat. Some people are wondering about more luxurious sort of stagecoach travel. Were there different grades?
Oh, whoa. Yeah, we'll get into some images later. There are, high-end post-chaise. There are phaetons. So there are all these sort of different grades of really expensive, just one person kind of rides. As we go later on, they'll be sprung with elaborate springs so you can go really fast, and it's sort of like shock absorbers, except it just keeps bouncing because there are no shock absorbers. But springs are nice. They help alleviate the roughness of the wheels, and as we get later on, you'll see bigger wheels, and those help also smooth out the ups and downs because the wheel doesn't drop into a small hole as much as a smaller wheel would. So yeah, there are all these different grades, very, very fine machines that will work on roads that are very smooth, and then we'll see other wagons here with huge, wide wheels that are farm carts meant for very, very heavy-duty work.
So what about coaches carrying goods for? So in like westerns, you'd see, the bank's deposit they held it up for that reason, or the post got lost because the stagecoach was held up or whatever. Is that happening in here? Are they carrying that sort of goods?
Yeah, very much so. There are some, there are levels of that. So they're very, very inexpensive, just farm wagons that are carrying things. And it might take 2 weeks, 3 weeks to get from, a 100-mile journey. So it's sort of like long haul trucking on wagons, taking a very long time. And then there are things like stagecoaches that just haul goods, but in a rapid sense. So like a FedEx truck, as opposed to, the other method. And there are some advertisements for those sort of high-speed coach, and more expensive goods that are traveling faster.
Okay. Do you have any indication of what the average traveling speed was?
I mentioned in the North American context something going rapidly, something like 4 miles an hour, something like winter, maybe 1 mile an hour. Yes, you could walk much faster than the wagon is going because they're just plodding along, but the roads are so bad, that's all the faster they can go.
And then they're also wondering about things like, potty breaks, lunch breaks, that kind of thing. What's happening with all those people crammed in there?
Yeah, so along the route, you've got post houses or taverns, inns, and it's a standard thing. It's like, well, we went 15 miles and we had to stop. Some of the routes have very, very regular stops. And then other ones, again, it's sort of an ad hoc or, impromptu stop. So it's just somebody's house alongside the road. And depends on kind of the group you're with, whether or not that's a common thing. But everybody that was along those main routes, they're kind of expecting and wanting people to stop. So maybe they're selling things. They might sell, food along the way. You hear people complaining as they're traveling down these roads. Well, we couldn't get water for 3 miles. No one would sell us any hay or fodder for our horses. We couldn't get any food here or there. And then other times like, well, we stopped at this house or that house. So you can expect that it's like, oh, it's time to stop. Now, potty breaks, well, they just went on the side.
But if you're looking to, buy land or settle somewhere, you could count on that as part of the economy for your household, selling to these folks.
Very much so. If you're anywhere along kind of a main route, then you might say, hey, stick a sign out front and people can stop and you'll sell them whatever you got.
So we want to say, give a welcome to Kitty Prince. First time tuning in, have watched the content for years. So
okay, welcome to a live stream.
And then I want to get into some of these super chats real quick. The bricklaying video, I already read that one. Thank you, Denise. Saint Germain Ryan, congrats on 350 Townsends.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Heather Torrey, feeling thankful for the pavement and suspension. Amen.
Yeah.
Josh Taylor, where can I find some 18th century journals and diaries? I'm more interested in personal journals than in autobiographies, but I don't know where to find them. Any ideas? Cheers from Missouri.
There are some online resources for that. I mean, obviously you can find some printed pieces. We've covered, I don't have a book with me, I had it yesterday. There are some sort of collections that are, in modern print. Alexander Hamilton, Dr. Alexander Hamilton, not the Alexander Hamilton you think of later. William Byrd III, some pieces that you will find printed from him. Mary Rowlandson, the knight person, I can't remember her first name, but there are some of those kinds of journals. The best place is to go hunting on, you can look in Google, books.google.com, and you can do some searching. You got to have the knack to find some of the things in there. Also, archive.org. There's a ton of stuff there. Again, it's an impossible interface to find what you need. So I may do some collection for folks and point them the right direction. You can also find some of these things in print on our Townsends website, and I'm continuing to do more of those kind of books in the future. So you can check out the books link on our townsends.us website.
So, on that note, what are 3 of your favorites from what we carry?
Well,
as far as journals,
I mean, you got to get Nicholas Creswell, right? It's like that's sort of, if you don't have Nicholas Creswell, you don't have a book. If you're going to get one journal for the 18th century time period, North America, Revolutionary War time period, that's the one to get. There's De Warvel's book. Is much thicker, really interesting. He's in America in about 1788, and he's writing about North America from the French context, and so you get a real good feel for what was going on there. His story is a little bit sad. He goes back to France, and then they had the revolution, and he dies, and he wanted to come back to the United States. Let's see, the Smith one is really good. So there's several of those journals, and they're so illuminating. So yeah.
And then Ty Jordan says, "Love the Santa cam and the bricklaying video." Thank you. Nice or cool. How often did wheels or chassis or other parts break down with these rough roads? A lot of maintenance and repair during the trips. Seems like coaches take real beatings.
Yeah, we talk about that in the video coming up, and there are some of those references. Seems like, if you've got 3 or 4 wagons, one is always breaking. It's a constant thing. Wheels are falling off. Wheels are getting crushed. Wagons are running into trees. It's just like big chunks of them are falling off. It's hard enough to keep your car in good shape these days. Now, we are massively blessed with extremely reliable personal vehicles these days. But in the time period, wood wagons, they had very little metal holding them together, and they were on the roughest roads you can possibly imagine. So they were just, and apparently the North American pieces of construction, they were not heavily built, and so they would break just constantly.
Kevin Cummings says, back in your video on the perils of the Navy, Samuel Kelly has said that his pillow was a powder box full of hankerbus and blunderbuss. What is hankerbus?
It's another kind of large gun. So they would have on board ship, especially in the tops, where, it's like you might have some small cannons down on the deck. But even in the tops, if you wanted to discourage people, even as a merchantman, you wanted to discourage pirates or privateers, or you would have blunderbusses and hankerbusses. Blunderbuss, probably a very large musket. So instead of a standard 3/4 inch bore, it might be 1 1/4 inch. So you could just pack it full of a bunch of whatever you've got up there, and just. It's not meant for precision firing at all, but scaring people away by firing whatever you can shove down the barrel.
Sparky is in Super Chat. My direct colonial ancestors were written about in the Pennsylvania Gazette. They were horse thieves, but then turned or expanded into the highwayman business.
Great. That's moving up in the world.
That is. That is moving up in the world, and a lot of comments and questions about highwaymen and.
We got
and
an
that
image
sort of
coming
thing.
up.
What has disappeared from houses today? Asks Robert Green.
Things that were in houses in the 18th century that we don't have in houses today.
I believe so. Yeah.
Usually it's the other way around. Chamber pots?
We've got a real lack of chamber pots.
Yeah, I'll think about this.
All right, you can get back into photos.
One thing real quick, a couple people are asking, we are not live streaming tomorrow. This is the live stream this week. So for those who are curious, we're live streaming today instead of tomorrow. And let's get to 1,000 likes.
Yes.
I know we can do it.
Yes.
We do it every week.
Wait, okay.
Break to
Before we go to images, I'm going to go to Patreon. So every week I try to get to the brand new Patreon people, and we're like this close to 1,000 Patreon people. So if you've been thinking about doing Patreon, now's the time to do it. The brand new Patreon people for this week: Ann Bassano, Dustin, Justin Knight, Donald Grimes, Mark Nierick, Nink. I'll get it right someday. Colin Donnell, Pickman's Model, John Gregory, Joy Fleesig, Yaros, Henk von Rokel, The Frizz, The Ravensdale, Samantha Miller, Robert Kaler, Old Bean Old Boy, Mark Maupin, Marsha Jackson, Wheelgun 69, Owen, Sharon Curry, Sandra Blumberg, Thomas Lashbrook, and some folks support us on PayPal, where they just do a one-shot thing. Patreon is one of those kind of like so much per month, you get to set the amount. PayPal, it's great for people who just want to do a one-shot kind of a thing. William Bauer and Sally Cormier. There we go. I'll get it right.
Thank you all so much.
Yeah, and if you're interested in helping us that way, supporting what we do, you can find the links down in the description section. Truly, it's a way to reach the world, because what we do here on YouTube amazes me every day, but people all around the world watching what we do. You could help us do that.
David Calf or Cough is asking, what about I'm putting you on the spot here, what about the question we asked you on the Patreon page? So maybe you'll have to go look at that and answer them through there.
Which question?
I don't. I'm just reading what David wrote.
Oh, I'm
here.
sorry, David. You're gonna have to remind me. Chat in, and maybe they'll catch it and get me. Boy, too many questions.
Loria Borealis. It looks like. What is the band from old video of Josh in the basement?
What is
the band?
The band.
Oh, the song in the. Are they talking about?
Oh, it's probably Jim's Red. Maybe that's what they're asking.
No, I think I know what they're talking about. Can I go out on a limb here?
Yeah.
I think what they're talking about is the metal song from the zombie video.
Yeah, probably.
And that is my dad.
Can you believe it?
This is the best thing about that. John calls my dad, who's a great musician, has a studio, and goes, I need a metal zombie video. And my dad sent him something within an hour.
Yeah, it's like, here you go, John. I wrote this.
I've been thinking about this for years.
Death by Zombies. Heavy metal song.
Took the thought right out of my head.
Yeah.
Wow.
That might not be what they're talking about, but I think that's what they mean. The band in the basement. Yeah.
Marsha Jackson super chat just says new Patreon.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Lots and lots of pictures to look at.
Here we go. Hurry. I won't take so long.
I like
Farm
this one.
cart. Yeah, and you know what? I didn't notice this, but this has got that same setup. Horse in front and two oxen, and this is a different artist than the earlier one. So maybe it's a common setup in the time period with the horse that leads the oxen.
That's interesting. I like that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, maybe it's the idea that the horse is a little more easily guided, and the oxen will follow along and do the heavy lifting, basically. Yeah, this is 1796.
Oh, sorry.
I really like that painting.
So here's one of these heavier farm carts. Whoop, Aaron, you.
Oh my gosh. Sorry.
Oh, we're gonna have to change the hot.
Yeah, I don't know.
hotkeys for that.
Yeah. It's so perfect though.
Yeah, I know. So then the thing to notice on this is how wide the wheels are. Very heavily dished wheels, so that you can kind of offset the wheels out from the wagon. And there's two different kinds of ways to put tires on these wheels. So the high-speed, delicate, wheels that need to have a fine, smooth road, those will have a thinner felloe or felly. That's the wood part that goes all the way around the outside, and then they have a metal tire. So on these heavy carts, they're straked. So there's multiple pieces of metal, and they are bolted on with a whole bunch of bolts and screws. And this allows the thing to have a lot of traction. It's kind of like having snow tires on.
I haven't seen that in person. Have you seen that on an old wheel?
Yeah, well, you'll see those in like some of the artillery pieces.
Okay.
Need to have those kinds of wheels. And then the other kind, the metal wheels, all one strip, one circle of metal. You heat that whole metal strip up, you expand it with heat, and then you put it on, and it burns its way and shrinks down onto the wheel and holds it together. It's a lot easier to fix this kind of wheel because you can unbolt one section and bolt it back on, but it's only for kind of heavy duty slow wheels. A farm cart. This is an interesting sort of half done. I love the way you can kind of see through the people. This image was mostly about the church in the background, but we see sort of a small farm cart and folks here in the foreground. Again, one of these heavy farm carts. You can tell big, heavy wheels. The horse, it's like hauling hay, and the horse is reaching up over and eating the hay out of the wagon.
Keeps him going.
Yeah, exactly. He'd probably get in trouble if anybody saw him like that, but nobody's looking, so he's doing the thing. This one, look at that. I mean, talk about sort of like a dump truck of today. We need a giant heavy wagon so we can carry these huge heavy logs. Normally, like in North America, these wouldn't be put on a wagon. They'd be just drug. You'd use a couple oxen and you just drag the logs along. And apparently they needed to go a lot farther with them.
Just getting those up on the wagon and balance would be such a pain.
Can you imagine? Oh, it's just, you definitely have to set up probably a set of shears so that you could use a pulley to put them up on that. This is an amazing image. This is, let me see if I can find it. I think it's Benjamin West, and it's a study for an image. Now, if you'll notice here, these wagons and the horses are out in the water, and they're a much different construction, meant to haul people sort of during this sort of mid-tide. I don't know. I can't explain this image completely. But I thought that wagons were really interesting in their structure, and the idea of them working in the wet was very intriguing.
This is the first one that we've seen with the multiple ring and canvas system, like you think of for like Oregon Trail.
Well, and that's the Conestoga wagons. Conestoga is in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Right? So that wagon style with the hoops and everything, that's very 18th century.
Okay.
We think of it as 19th century. Again, heavy farm cart, and people did use this kind of a cart for transportation. Farmers would take people on rides. If he's going someplace anyway and they want to go along, he would make a few pennies by taking people along with him. They're not going to go fast. It's not going to be a great ride, but it's better than walking. And of course, you see plenty of people walking too right here.
Man, that one is one of my favorite sketches so far.
So this is, again, just like that idea of a farm cart going someplace. This is like hitching a ride on a truck or a train. So this wagon is a slow wagon. Lots of horses, meant for a heavy load. Look at the width of those tires, but it's got that Conestoga wagon kind of, let's put the hoops on there, let's put the canvas on there. We're gonna throw some people up on top of the load, and you can see that. I mean, the wagoner here has a ladder so people can climb up on top of that. And this is a classic thing that's happening not only in England but in North America. You see these exact same things going on. This image was crazy. Okay, look up close here. These are people gathered all around to see a boxing match. Now, the craziest thing to me is the fact that there's 4 people in the ring, right? It's like the 2 main fighters, and then I don't know if they're like coaches on this side or referees, or one's a referee. I don't know what's going on. Tag team
2v2
boxing,
You never know.
2-on-2 boxing.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
And if you want the best seat in the house, you climb up one of these poles so that you can watch what's going on. And all these people, men and women, watching it. It's like a fair. There's crazy wagons collapsing in the foreground. This is Rollinson again. This is 1790. And if we zoomed in, there's just craziness going on, and all these different little pieces. The horses rearing up here on the extreme left-hand side, but it's like people going to a drive-in theater. Look at all the carriages. They don't even want to get out. It's like, no, just pull up. We'll watch the fight.
Wow.
And people are up on top watching the fight. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, that is great.
We've looked at this image before. It's really hard to color correct this one. It's just so crazy color. But we got our classic. This is early. This is 1770. This is Collet. And there's a sedan chair on the extreme right-hand side. So it's sort of like a chair with the 2 poles, and it's got sides to it and a little top so people can sort of hide, but 2 people carry a person around. We've got the carriage in the back. So we have sort of the one-person public transport, sort of one-person taxi. And then we have the carriage in the back, and I just love this. Look at the woman peeking out, and she's got a dog with a handkerchief around its head. What? In the 18th century? This is crazy. Lots of ne'er-do-wells up on the top there. This is Rollinson again. 1790 or so, and we've got carriages tipping over and horses rearing up, and he kind of this is a common theme in his artwork. He loves to have these crazy things going on. He's a funny artist. Now, we talked about highwaymen. Now, what's going on here? Well, apparently this highwayman wants the ring off her finger. It won't come off, so he's going to cut her finger off.
All right.
Yeah, that kind of thing is happening in Great Britain in the time period, and maybe even in North America. People kind of, you read about that.
It sounds so much nicer when Waylon and Willie and Johnny and Chris sing about it.
Yeah, well, this is not so nice. Again, it's like you're gonna stop the coach that's like this because the people inside, they've got the money. Love this image. 19th century. This is a wagon just for hauling dogs for your hunt. So, if you've ever seen, if you're around here and you see the pickup truck and it's got the box in the back for hauling your coonhounds, well, this is for foxhounds in Great Britain, a special wagon just for hauling all the dogs.
Wow.
This little wagon is, he's giving driving lessons for ladies. And there's our hogs and dogs there. There are hogs, getting underneath the wheels, and the gentleman there worried about getting run over. And Loved this image. Check out the guy in the foreground. He remind you of anybody? Looks like old Badger there. In the,
Old Badger
foreground.
causing a ruckus.
yeah.
I'm sure he's up to nothing but good, though.
Well, for sure. It's again a heavy wagon. It's hauling. It's for hauling flour. It's a miller's wagon. We've got a mill here on the left-hand side. Now check out what's over the door of the mill. Can you see that? It's over the door.
Yeah, what is that?
There are rats nailed to the wall.
Is that what that is?
Yes.
I was like, that looks like a rodent, but I'm not going to
Yeah.
say it.
Yeah.
Is it a warning to the other
Yeah,
rats?
it's a classic thing at a time period to put things like that on the wall.
Come on in, Ratty Poo.
Yeah. This is what we do to rats. This, I think, is another Rollinson sketch, just a study. Again, horses rearing, wagons going crazy. He's just, again, a sketch, just trying to get a feel for that so he can take these images into bigger paintings. There he is again. There's Rollinson, and going downhill. The post boy riding the horse instead of the wagon, because he can control them more, and there's really no room for him on that post chaise back there. And they're going downhill, which is scary.
Jeez.
And, they're scared. They ought to be scared going down that hill.
The lady looks more mad.
Yeah,
Like,
well-
I can't believe what I paid for.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Well, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I paid to get run over. This is Rollinson again, and he does some studies of sort of the idea of what these different conveyances look like in other countries. And this is France. A slow-moving coach,
Respectable.
heavy wheels, full of people. It's a long wheelbase, and you'll see this more than once in these images. That isn't. I don't know if he's. I mean, he's a bit of a caricaturist. Okay, he's a lot of a caricaturist.
This is the Lincoln Town Car of
Yeah,
coaches.
it is, and
It's got the air ride in the back.
well, if you look at the front, the carriage is supported on these chains, so it can kind
Yeah.
of sway and catch some of it. Not springs, but chains.
No, like it's rocking you.
Yeah, right. And then we have
All
the
right.
hogs getting run over again here in the foreground.
That's a heck of a chain, John.
It is.
That's nuts.
Yeah, right. And this whole basket up front that has all their luggage in it, and they're riding the horses to spur them along and guiding them instead of running it from the back.
What is the monument back there?
Now this is in France and he's in England,
Oh,
so
that's
he's going to
right.
be
Okay.
he's going to be in some ways making fun of the Catholicism going on there. So we've got monks and there's even monks sort of on the carriage here. That's a classic one of those. When an English artist is talking about France, he's going to put these sort of
Right.
telltale things so you know what's going on.
So it's a Buick.
Yeah.
That guy's ponytail. You better be careful. It's gonna
Yeah.
be hot
Let me
Long-
tell you,
on the hooves.
my dad's an Oldsmobile man.
You want another one?
Yeah. Okay, now, this one is hard to explain. This is Ibison again. And if you look at this horse that's rearing in the front here, that blob there that it's rearing at is a lioness attacking a horse. I don't know the story. This is 1797. I don't know if they're a lion escape from street people, street performers or a zoo or whatever. But it attacks this horse, and there's a dog. I don't just crazy.
And the passenger's thinking, why did I choose
Yeah,
today?
run,
Why-
get away.
Jeez.
One of these hay wagons. It's almost like we looked at the study earlier. It was a different artist, but it's like they took that exact wagon and dropped it into this heavy hay wagon. Meant to really carry things slowly, but and there's probably the wagoner there in that blue outfit there along the side.
think.
And there we are. We're back again.
Well, we got some cleaning up to do.
Somebody was asking that last one. They're like, "Isn't that a dog?" The lioness is on the horse.
On the horse, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of
There's a
really
dog in the
hard.
front.
It's really hard to draw, but the dog is like chasing, going after the lion.
Okay, in Super Chat, was it scandalous to ride with the opposite gender? And the enclosed carriages seem like much more privacy than people would have normally.
It doesn't seem so. If you read different pieces, Roderick Random, there are multiple people riding in the farm wagon, different genders. There's the different things I read in the video that's coming up. Again, there's mixed genders in the conveyance. I don't think it seems all that strange to them. It was a needful thing that had to happen. You had to you had to go someplace. So I don't think it's terribly odd.
In Super Chat, John Talley, thanks for all that you do. I have no idea how you guys find the time to do all the stuff that you do, but we're all glad that you do.
Thank you.
Speed and Style Tony, interesting subject. Thanks. On the boxing pick, 4 men enter, but only one will leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. I've got another super chat that ran off on me, and I'm trying to find it. In the meantime, do you have any information on the Highwaymen situation? Was the proprietor of the coach charged with keeping people safe?
I think there was some of that going on, and that whole idea of, especially later on, you have the stagecoach in the Wild West, and you've got the guy riding shotgun, right? I think some of that's definitely going on in the 18th century in places where it was known to be a problem. The coachmen would go armed if they needed to, or even take along an extra person to be armed and stop that sort of thing from going on. Both in Great Britain and in North America in the 18th century, they didn't have police as we know them. And so that was, security was a much more of a private matter in those kinds of situations. Yeah, you could, bring somebody up on charges or, try to capture them, but it was sort of the public's job to do that, not some police force that had that duty generally.
Denise Maloney Piran is in Super Chat again. As always, the best hour on YouTube. Thanks, Ryan, John, and Aaron.
Thank you, Denise.
Thank you.
I've got a couple of more comments over here that I think are good. Do you know when tires changed and started using rubber or anything like that?
No, that's going to be much later into the 19th century, and I am not familiar when sort of the putting rubber on, which I'll bet is even 20th century, but I don't have the specifics on that.
So I think that this week we've confused a lot of folks on when live streams happen and what's going on with them. So yesterday's thing was a fluke.
Whoops! I was doing a Patreon live stream, and I clicked the wrong one, and sorry guys.
Yeah, I set up the one that scheduled it out, and he accidentally.
Yeah, I was going to get the
clicked
right
on
one,
that.
and then I got flustered.
So
I saw it
yesterday,
live, and I was like, "Oh no!"
yesterday was a fluke. We typically do them on Fridays,
Yes.
and you can normally set your
Clock
your week
by
by that or your clock by that. But because of extenuating circumstances, this week we are doing it today.
Because we didn't want to leave you with a whole week without it.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to see us. You must.
Although, do you have any plans for next week? You're not
I
going to
won't
be
be
here.
here.
Guys, who knows what'll happen?
Yeah.
I'm not going to say anything about the future right now. Because you never know.
Because we're
You
making
just-
it up as we go
You
along.
just never know.
So anyway, that clears things up. Aaron,
Yeah.
we've gotten a lot of new YouTube members today. You want to talk about that real quick?
Yeah, so there's a join button kind of near the like and dislike page. It's our YouTube membership. It's a way to help us out every month. You get some special emojis. You get to have a tag by your name. Your name is highlighted in the chat. and it's just a way to help us out and a way to kind of be seen in the chat every week and on just the page itself. All your comments will show up with your tag and your logo, and that'll change every month. Some people are getting close to that 1 year. I'm excited for them to see their 1 year logo.
That is amazing.
So yeah, that go ahead and click that and join up.
Old baby. No old baby.
Yeah, no old baby. Here, I'll drop all those emojis so you can see them.
That catches us up, John. Also, a lot of people are commenting about the cool swag they're getting in the mail, whether it's John holding a golden nutmeg or a Nutmeg Tavern mug. Thank you so much for purchasing those items and supporting us in that way. Take it away, John.
It is amazing, all the incredible support that we get from you guys. Truly, you help make the videos happen. You're part of the team that makes what we do happen. Even if it's you don't get to get in there and press a button on a camera or do the editing, you help make it happen. Some of that's just all the suggestions and the encouragement that we get, and we get a feel for the kind of content that you're really excited about. Yes, it's not. You're all worried about it starting everything on fire. It's all right. No fire going on here. No, you guys make it happen. And, people on Patreon, people that help us on PayPal, the membership thing, the merch, sharing our videos. Truly, the people out there, the team that shares our videos and says, hey, you might be interested in this. You help make the channel grow, and we, again, reach, it astounds me, yes, millions of people. I don't get it. It's incredible. I truly am flabbergasted when I look at all the numbers. Thank you so much for what you do. Thank you, Ryan, for covering all that. Those guys are rowdy in there.
We got some rowdy souls, and then it's a little glamorous. That's okay. We're in the Nutmeg Tavern. This is how I like to keep.
He's got the baseball bat behind the bar, so
This is how I like that. You might get your beverage, but you will get a bump on the head.
Thank you, Aaron.
Yep, no
for
problem.
doing all that rounding up there, and thank you out there. I hope you have a tremendous weekend. Thank you for watching.